Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unlocking something pretty wild, the strange, fascinating reality of how our memory actually works. I mean, we rely on it every single second, right? We use it to build our identities and navigate the world. But as we're going to see today, the science shows it's fundamentally different from what most of us think.
Let's do a quick test. Try to remember the exact feeling, maybe even the specific sounds or smells of your very first day of school. Got it? I bet you can picture it. Okay, now, what did you have for breakfast exactly 3 days ago? Drawing a blank? It's kind of a bizarre contrast, isn't it? Our brains can cling to decades-old moments with crystal clarity, yet we completely lose track of a simple meal we ate on a Tuesday.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the memory recording myth.
So, to really grasp how we remember, we actually have to unlearn what society has taught us. A massive misconception is the idea that your memory is just a video camera. You hit record, store the file in the back of your head, and just press play when you want to look back. But the reality? Well, it's far stranger. Memory is reconstructive, not reproductive. Every single time you recall a memory, you aren't playing back a pristine recording, you're actually rebuilding it from scattered fragments. It's literally like assembling a dinosaur skeleton from scattered bones every single time you want to see the dinosaur. And because you have to actively reconstruct it piece by piece, well, memory is inherently fallible.
Which brings us to Section 2, how memories are made, or as I like to call it, the brain's factory floor.
So if we're constantly rebuilding these bones, where do the raw materials actually come from? Well, information first enters the factory through your working memory. This is super short-term and has a highly limited capacity. Think of it as a mental scratch pad. It's what you use to hold on to a verification code just long enough to type it into your phone. But for a memory to really stick around, it has to move into long-term memory. This is the vault where we safely store procedural memory, like how to ride a bike, semantic memory, random facts and general knowledge, and episodic memory, which are those rich, autobiographical moments of our lives.
Now, what's really interesting about this process is the specific biological machine doing all that heavy lifting, the hippocampus. This little guy is the absolute hub for memory consolidation. It's the central processor that converts short-term, fleeting experiences into long-term episodic memories. And actually, here's a fantastic bonus fact for you. The hippocampus is one of the very few brain regions that continues to generate brand new neurons well into adulthood. And you know what the catalyst is that promotes this neurogenesis? Exercise. Yeah, staying physically active literally helps build and protect your memory factory. How cool is that?
But the hippocampus can't just build something out of nothing. It needs high-quality raw materials to properly encode a memory. For that, you absolutely need attention, emotional tagging, or repetition. If you're paying low attention, well, you guarantee weak encoding, which basically leads to immediate forgetting. That's exactly why you lost your keys again. You simply weren't paying attention when you set them down. Emotional tagging is a massive factor too. Your brain's amygdala acts kind of like a VIP bouncer, aggressively tagging emotionally significant events as high priority for the hippocampus. That emotional tag is why you vividly remember your wedding day, but your brain totally throws away the memory of a routine Tuesday at the office.
Moving on to Section 3, the science of forgetting. Let's talk about the leaky bucket. Let's examine this leaky bucket of the human mind and see what happens when we don't actively try to hold on to information. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how fast that bucket leaks. This is the famous Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, discovered by Hermann Ebbinghaus way back in 1885. Just look at that dramatic steep drop. You start at 100% right after learning something new. But without actively reviewing that material, within just one single hour, you lose 50% of that new information. Half of it just gone.
And honestly, it gets much worse. Look at this number, 90%. An absolutely staggering 90% of what we learn completely vanishes within a single week if we don't actively intervene. I mean, that is an incredible volume of lost information. But remember, your brain defaults to forgetting simply to save energy and mental space. It's a feature, not a bug, even if it feels super frustrating.
So how do we stop the leak? Well, one of the most critical biological interventions isn't even something you do while you're awake. Get this, sleep is not passive. While you're resting, your hippocampus is working overtime. It is literally replaying the day's experiences and transferring those memory files over to the cortex for permanent long-term storage. This means if you're chronically sleep-deprived, you're actively severing this crucial biological transfer process. A tired brain severely impairs memory consolidation, so get your sleep.
Now for Section 4, false memories and distortions.
Forgetting is only one part of the problem, though. We are now entering the darker side of memory, the slightly terrifying reality where our own minds can essentially lie to us. Pioneering memory psychologist Elizabeth Loftus famously stated that post-event information can be incorporated into memories, distorting them. Through her work on the misinformation effect, she proved that our memories are highly vulnerable. Because remember, we rebuild our memories like scattered dinosaur bones. If someone hands us a new, fake bone, like a leading question, or a piece of false information presented after the fact, our brain will seamlessly build that fake bone right into the skeleton. We can completely overwrite what we think we experienced. Wild, right?
And the real-world consequences of this are immense. Leading questions can entirely alter what a witness claims to recall, which makes criminal eyewitness testimony incredibly unreliable. Tragically, innocent people have been convicted based on memories that witnesses confidently recalled but were actually completely false. And even what we call flashbulb memories, those intensely vivid, highly detailed memories of shocking, emotionally charged events like 9/11 or a sudden personal tragedy, even those are prone to distortion. Research shows these flashbulb memories feel incredibly accurate to us, but over time they drift, they change, and they contort just like any other memory.
Okay, let's pivot to something more empowering in Section 5, hacking your memory retention and combating forgetting.
So the crucial point here is we don't have to be entirely at the mercy of our faulty, leaky brains. Let's look at how we build a rock-solid defense against forgetting with 3 incredibly powerful science-backed techniques you can apply right away. First up, spaced repetition. Instead of cramming all at once, you review information at exponentially increasing intervals. This actively resets that Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Second, retrieval practice. This is the act of forcing your brain to recall information from scratch rather than passively rereading your notes. And third, the method of loci, also known as a memory palace. This ancient technique works by associating new information with physical spatial locations. It allows you to cleverly exploit your brain's naturally superior spatial memory.
To highlight just how effective retrieval practice is, consider the testing effect. Time and time again, studies prove that students who study by testing themselves significantly outperform those who simply reread the material. Now I know the act of dragging information out of your memory is uncomfortable. It takes real mental effort. But that very friction is exactly what tells your hippocampus that the information is vital. It is literally one of the most robust and proven findings in all of memory research.
Which brings us to a rather profound final thought for today's explainer. If your memories are constantly being rewritten, how well do you really know your past? Every time you revisit your absolute favorite childhood memory, you're tweaking it, you're altering it, you're saving a slightly new version.
The overarching truth we've explored today is that your memory is infinitely more powerful and undeniably more fragile than you probably ever realized. It really leaves you wondering just how much of your own identity is a perfectly accurate historical record and how much is a beautifully reconstructed story. I hope the tools we reviewed today help you hold on to the moments and knowledge that matter most to you. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to subscribe to The Explainer for more weekly deep dives into how your mind actually works.